I'd be the one to call out these modern day, quote unquote, feminists. And if you don't want a whole bunch of truth bombs, click off this video right now. Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. I call out the alt-left wackadoo hate mobs. I tell it like it is, and I use a writing crop for emphasis. Some people call me a harpy because I do harp on things. Some people call me a consumer advocate. Some people call me your worst nightmare. Oh yes. Backswing's hitting the green screen. Ooh. This is normally the part of the video where I pull up an article or have something to bounce off of. I'm going off of a Twitter thread that I responded to a couple of days ago, and the whole general point of this video and of my statement that I really can't fit into one little thread is the fact that modern day feminism has turned our men, our cherished, beloved, needed, and respected males of our society, our husbands, brothers, uncles, nephews, sons, cousins. It is turning the males of our society into a bunch of people who are too afraid to even interact with the opposite gender, if that's what they choose, if that's who they're going for. And I'm not blaming you guys. I am not blaming you guys at all. You know who I'm blaming? The modern day, quote unquote, third wave feminists. You know, these ones who just have to knock men down. The ones who have to tell you that you're bad, that you're an ist, you're a phobe, you're wrong, that you are just part of the problem, and you know, the women who have to ree and scream about the patriarchy. You're the problem, lady. You know you're the problem. And the other problem is the men who want to come in and say, oh, well, maybe men shouldn't be such creeps. Maybe men shouldn't do this and they won't get me. And we're talking a little bit about the Me Choos. You know, the women, some of these women, and I'm going to call them out. Some of these women use that as an excuse to get everything they want, whether the guy did anything or not. And you know it and I know it. Everybody knows it. And the fact that these men have the nerve to come into a Twitter thread where I am flat out calling out these alt-left wackadoo hate mob feminists for ruining dating for all of us. Well, how do they ruin dating, Mecca, you might ask? They make it so that nobody even wants to bother to ask women out for fear of, oh, is she just going to change her mind after something that we have, like a night of fun, for example, and then she's going to slap me with a Me Too afterwards. Because that happens. Don't deny that that happens. And anybody who just says, oh yes, but they're taking out, and any man afraid of that just shouldn't be a creep. That's not the point. That's not the point, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to have men who actually are not creepos. You're going to have men who are actually decent guys who just don't want to put up with the headache of some woman nagging and complaining and bitching and sniping at him and snipping at him and emasculating him and telling him how he's wrong and his opinion's wrong and everything he says and does and thinks is wrong just because of what's in between his legs. And how she's so much better. Even though these women, these fake women, and I'm calling them out on being fake, because a lot of the times they don't actually even believe in what they're talking about. They're just using whatever they can to get back at daddy. They're using it to get back at daddy because they were told they were princesses when they were children. And then they grew up and they didn't actually get a knight in white shining armor coming in to rescue them and to take care of their sorry butts. You know why? Because they have these little liberal arts degrees or gender studies degrees where they're out there telling men how horrible they are. They are mad at daddy because they have to work for a living, and they were told that Prince Charming was going to come. And guess what? He's not. And they're mad and they're bitter because of it. And it is, who knows what came first? Did the chicken come first or did the egg come first in this instance? Were they miserable because they're mad at daddy because he lied to them and said that you're a princess and you're clearly not? Or are they just mad because they're filled with all these lies and they see Disney and all these fairy tales and the fairy tales don't come true and they're forced to work and support and do all of these jobs like running comic book industries. And they're not equipped to do that, so they have to be bitter, horrible, miserable people to get back at the patriarchy. That's why these men aren't coming to rescue you, because you might be kind of unlikable, ladies. Not my viewers, obviously, but some of the women who are out there just existing, just to tell you how you're wrong, why what you say is wrong, why they don't need to take your opinion seriously.
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what...
Nobody has to breathe. And that is part of the problem with a lot of modern day society, is that a lot of women don't have the nerve to call out their own, to say, hey ladies, stop it, all right? We're here for equality. We're here because we need everybody to coexist on this planet. I mean, maybe not every person, but pretty much most of us and most animals, plants, insects, we all have a place in the ecosystem that is the planet. Right? We are in a biodome that is floating throughout space. And we're just sitting here on top of this little rock, and we are here to procreate and reproduce and...
What are they? Why are they? What do they mean?
and to keep going as a species. And when you start separating so much to the fact that men and women don't even want to be in the same place together, because let's face it, a lot of men get a little bit intimidated and they get a little bit afraid. Oh, am I going to say something that's going to offend her? Am I going to say something that she's going to snap and re-at? Like that. Am I going to say something that is going to make her go off on me? And maybe I don't want the headache. Maybe I don't want to deal with that crap. Maybe I'm just going to stay single and keep all my money to myself and not have some miserable woman coming home to nag me for basically having the nerve to exist, right? Maybe that's what I was calling out in this thread. And maybe it wasn't an invitation to just further bash males. Oh, well, if men don't want to be viewed as creeps, maybe they shouldn't be creeps. Male feminists are the biggest creeps on this planet in my experience. Basically, I was going to say opinion, but no, I'm changing it to experience. These are the men who want to come in and insult and shame any woman who doesn't follow that narrative, that message. And that's even worse is being an independent, free-thinking woman who actually appreciates the male species, right? The males of the species. I say it like it's a different species. You guys are just going to have to cancel me. And what happens every single time when you don't follow the alt-left SJW men and bad narrative? Then you get men coming into your thread to tell you why you're wrong. It's like, seriously, what are you trying to do? Actually, Rob from Midnight's Edge, you guys see him on the channel from time to time, and sometimes he pops in as Pope Bob Iger. He has this analogy, and is absolutely legit and perfect and correct, that a lot of these quote-unquote male feminists are only doing that to score an easy lay with some of these ladies who are, let's face it, if they're reciting a bunch of NPC bullshit, then they're probably not too sharp. Anyway, they're not the brightest crayon in the box.
It's fun to obey the machine.
They might not actually understand how a lot of things work past, what's right there immediately in front of them. These are the people who missed their turn because they weren't planning to be in the left-hand lane a couple of blocks early, knowing that they're going to be turning left, right? This is how a lot of society works. They don't see 2 steps in front of them, and they don't actually understand what the real issue is. And a lot of these men come in and they want to take advantage of that. And it is kind of predatory. I'm not going to lie. Maybe these feminist sort of types only deal with men who actually are sort of predatory towards them. Because let's face it, they're pretty easy to talk down to. I've been getting into it with a lot of these sort of alt-left wackadoo feminists on Twitter today. And the anecdote Rob always uses is that a lot of these male feminist types are the type of guy who would sneak into Lilith Fair and pretend to like all that stuff, to pretend to like Ani DeFranco because, oh, I really feel so much for your women's issues. Meanwhile, they're just trying to creep in on, basically pretty much an easy woman. You can just listen to her yap and like, yep, I agree with you. Yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear. And then you use her for the night and then move on about your merry little day. And these women don't even realize that they've been taken advantage of. They don't even realize that the guy flat out lied to them just to get in their pants because they're easy to be manipulated. And then they keep going on about, oh, men suck, men suck, men suck. You just... So of course they're going to view men as bad because those are the only men that actually will deal with their crap. Because you know why? The normal, reasonable, intelligent men who have jobs and careers and families and lives do not put up with women who put out that garbage, right? They do not put up with women whose entire existence is to be nasty and horrible to them. But these women have made it so I won't even date a woman in this day and age hardly anymore. And I always like to stress how I really, really dislike having to drop the alphabet letter when I do talk about the gay stuff, right? I have to drop yes, I'm the B in the alphabet, which doesn't actually mean shit to the LGBTQ whatever community because you're lowest on the ring, the ladder, the totem pole, as it were, of the oppression Olympics. You're the lowest rung down. So your opinion amounts about as much as a straight person if you're just the bisexual in the alphabet community. But man, I just gotta call this crap out when I see it because I can kind of see why these women have only had these really, really super negative experiences with men and might want to generalize everybody. But generalizing everybody like that does not really, really help based on gender. I mean, if you want to generalize somebody on their ideology, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to all agree the alt-left SJW wackadoo sort of hate mob people are all going to jump on board with every little case of, oh, we gotta believe women except for the women we don't like. Really, really, really. And the males do it too. The male feminists do it too, just as bad as the females. Whenever you get somebody who doesn't conform to their groupthink, somebody who might say, wait a minute, I don't feel objectified. I actually enjoy presenting what I am. And then they're going to say, oh, you just do it for the male. Like, no. I want to feel attractive. I want to feel sexier than, just some woman who's screaming at me, throwing a temper tantrum on social media. All right, that's it. We got to go full harpy on these people. That's out of the way. I am Mecha Random 42. Hopefully I didn't contradict myself too much on this. So hopefully it was pretty cohesive and coherent. I did just roll out of bed at, 1 in the afternoon because I was up late night shopping for stand mixers. Ooh, yes, I bake, by the way. Do you guys want to see that? Baking videos, cooking videos. I like to make cookies and all kinds of stuff like that.
Please like the video if you liked it. If you didn't like it, keep your comments to yourself.
No one asked you, Brie. And that is one more issue with modern day feminism. It is how it's portrayed in Hollywood. You have to have every woman made unattractive on screen just so we don't offend some feminists who might want to see herself represented on screen. Because what? Women are only supposed to be ugly now? Is that what we're saying? Women are only supposed to be made less attractive than the actresses actually are, just so we don't hurt somebody's feelings. Not only that, you have every female character turned into an overbearing, know-it-all, absolutely perfect Mary Sue, and every male character is left holding his balls in the background like a fucking... And you know it. And they have ruined Hollywood. They have ruined so much of society because of this crap. It is like you are not allowed to be portrayed realistically, right? I'm somebody, I can look like this and I can still have, a handful of video games, and some of them are even like real legit ones, like Smash Brothers and stuff. It's not just Monopoly here. And I'm more realistic and I'm more three-dimensional than just one of these little perfect Mary Sue sort of characters. But they can't even write any female characters to fail at anything for fear of offending somebody. That is why we get so many so over-the-top Mary Sue characters. Look at Star Wars, for example. Star Trek. Look at how they're treating female CEOs and executives. Look at somebody like Kathleen Kennedy, for example. Nobody would dare let her know that she failed Star Wars. You know why? Because they're probably just going to promote her up. They're probably just going to make her the head of something else, something bigger, something better. Because you can't have a failure. And you know what that tells me as a woman? That tells me that it doesn't matter what you do, what kind of effort you put out, as long as you recite the same garbage and bullshit and tell men that they're bad, you're going to get everything in the world handed to you. Until you step out of line, then you're going to have men come in and tell you what you're wrong. And how come you're so bad and horrible and awful? And there are always these all left wackadoo male feminists who do this. So what is really more empowering? Having a woman with an opinion of her own that will call out the BS, or just having the same little message of, well, this is okay now, and women need special treatment because they clearly can't do anything on their own, without having to bash men, right? Without having that little special treatment. Sorry for going off on a couple of little tangents, but this stuff just boils my blood.
Ew.
I am MechaRandom42, and I'll see you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
Hey, which one of you cute little cupcakes
Hello, I'm Brie Larson.
wants to come home and cook me a nice meal and give me a blowjob? Blowjob!
Just believe and not fight a reality.